Solving corruption psychologically, contextually, a fresh behavioral perspective on an old problem. Hi everyone, Nathan Chua here from One Life Only Counseling Services. Today I want to talk about corruption, but from a different angle, not the usual blame, outrage, or moralizing we hear every day. Instead, I want to explain why corruption keeps repeating, administration after administration, and why it's not going away despite all our reforms. The repeating pattern. If you look back at our history, almost every administration, regardless of ideology or promises, has had some form of corruption scandal. Different leaders, different laws, different slogans, same result. So people ask, is something wrong with the Filipinos? Why is change so slow? But before we jump to conclusions, let's look at three lenses we use to explain corruption. Number one, the moral view. Bad people cause corruption. This is the explanation we hear all the time. Our voters aren't smart. Filipinos lack discipline. We keep choosing the wrong leaders. People need values formation. This worldview assumes the problem is the person, that something is wrong with the Filipinos themselves. But if that were true, why do even the good ones, the idealists, and the reformers eventually get swallowed up by the same system? And here's something we don't talk about enough, but it completely destroys the idea that Filipinos are the problem. Why is it that when Filipinos go abroad, they suddenly become law abiding citizens? Same Filipino, same values, same upbringing, same personality, but abroad, they follow traffic rules, line up properly, show up on time, respect systems, avoid shortcuts, obey processes, pay taxes, follow regulations. What changed? Not the Filipino, the context. When the environment is fair, predictable, transparent, and consistent, Filipinos, like all other people, cooperate when rules are clear and applied equally. Filipinos follow them. If the problem were a moral defect, Filipinos would behave badly everywhere they go. But they don't. So the issue isn't, or the issue cannot be the character of the Filipino. It's the conditions the Filipino is placed in. The moral view feels satisfying, but it explains nothing and it solves nothing. The structural view, add more rules. This one sounds intelligent and technical. It says we need to change the system, we need stricter laws, we need more agencies, we need more signatures and approvals. Sometimes we even hear people, technocrats, say that we need less of them. But here's the problem. Every time we add new rules, people simply learn how to work around them. We've seen this clearly in our history. In 1987, we rewrote the entire Constitution, hoping that a new structure would finally create good governance. And what happened? People adapted, people adjusted, some learned how to take advantage of the new rules. Corruption continued just in different forms. More rules, more bottlenecks, more delays, more opportunities for shortcuts, more shortcuts, more corruption. So instead of eliminating corruption, structural reform often creates the conditions that make corruption the easiest and sometimes the only route. Because Behaviors don't happen in a vacuum. They respond to incentives, pressures, and environment. And new rules alone do not automatically make people follow them. The contextual view. People behave according to context. But this is the lens we this is the lens we rarely use, but it explains the pattern better than the other two combined. It says Filipinos are not inherently corrupt. Filipinos are responding to broken systems. People behave according to incentives, punishments, transparency, fairness, the ease or difficulty of doing things, the cost of honesty, the availability of shortcuts, and the level of trust in the environment. If doing the right thing is punished and doing the wrong thing is rewarded, the behavior will follow the reward, not the sermon, not the law, not the moral lecture. This aligns with Elinor Ostrom. Corruption decreases when communities share oversight, not just a single central authority. Stephen Hayes, if you want new behavior, change the context, not the character. Robert Putnam, low trust conditions create defensive, self protective behaviors, which look like corruption. So instead of asking, why are Filipinos corrupt? The better question is, what kind of environment makes the corruption the workable choice, or makes corruption the workable choice? Because behavior follows context, always. So the first view, the moral view, blames people, feels good, solves nothing. The second view, the structural view, changes systems on paper, but people work around them just like they did after the 1987 Constitution. Often ends up increasing bureaucracy and delays. The third view, the contextual view, looks at incentives, transparency, trust, and workability. Recognizes that people follow the environments they are placed in. When the environment changes, behavior changes. Filipinos are not defective. The context is. And if we want a different Philippines, we need to stop moralizing, stop adding layers of rules that people will simply navigate around, and start creating environments where honesty is easier, faster, and more rewarding than corruption. Safer and more rewarding than corruption. Thanks for watching, and I hope this gives you a fresh, clearer way of understanding why corruption persists in our country and how we, as a community, can finally start addressing it the right way. Bye for now, and see you in the next vlog.